understand.
But yeah, this is an open event.
Event?
It's open to the press. You're welcome to be here, and I'd be more than happy to help get you connected to people you need to talk to.
Certainly, any of the candidates. This is going to be on URTV, which is a public access. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Richard Bernier here at Grove Park Inn tonight at the Vance Aycock Dinner. I'm here with a special lady from what county?
I'm from Watauga County.
Watauga County, and
That's right.
And I understand you have been in the political field and been elected as
Legislator. Yes, I did serve in the North Carolina legislature back in the 80s. Margaret Hayden.
Margaret Hayden. Mm-hmm. So back in the 80s, how many years were you in the legislature?
I was there 2 terms.
2 terms?
Mm-hmm. Introduced the Ridge Law to protect our beautiful mountain ridges.
Is that right?
Yes.
So I understand you're a supporter of Beverly Perdue, which is running for governor.
I am.
Tell us your experience with Beverly Perdue and why, and the reasons why you're supporting her.
Well, I tell you, I've known Bev for many years, and I know her to be smart, honest, and she's led so many wonderful initiatives for North Carolina. Mm-hmm. She's prepared. She was serving in the Senate. She wrote the state budget when she was in the Senate. She was the first woman to serve on the Appropriations Committee. She served as lieutenant governor for 2 years, for 2 terms, and she is now the first woman that has a real chance of being elected governor in North Carolina. So it's a history-making event.
So it's actually a historical moment. Really.
Very historical moment.
Historical moment.
And she's so ready to be a great governor for all the people of North Carolina.
I understand. So let's go back to the Vance Aycock here. This is basically a fundraiser for the western part of North Carolina,
yes,
which is a once-a-year event, correct?
It sure is, yes.
How many years have you been coming to the Vance Aycock Dinner?
Oh,
the
well.
First one, or you've been here many?
No. I have been coming to the Vance Aycock for many, many years, probably 30 years.
30 years.
Yes.
So you know a lot about Asheville, North Carolina then.
I do know about Asheville, and of course you're our neighbor.
Absolutely.
We're in Blowing Rock, North Carolina.
That's it.
Asheville's our big neighbor in the west.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I do want to ask you about, there's a little bit of talk about changing the name of this event. What's your feelings about that? Should we change it or keep it the same?
Well, I haven't really thought too much about that. I do know that both of the governors were good governors, and I know that it's such history. It's hard to change.
I think that this event will continue on no matter what it's called.
Oh, it will continue. It's a very important event for Western North Carolina.
All right. Well, thank you very much for talking to us, and good
you.
luck
Thank
for your Beverly Perdue, our first lady, who is going to try to be running for governor.
She is going to be the first woman governor of North Carolina. I can assure you of that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is Richard Bernier here at Vance Aycock Dinner. I'm here with Pat Smiths, who is running for Lieutenant Governor for North Carolina. Is that correct?
That's correct, Richard.
All right.
That's
Tell the folks here in Asheville a little bit about yourself.
Well, Richard, I hope the folks here in Asheville know quite a bit about me already. I live and grew up over in Canton, and of course, when I first started practicing law here in Canton, or not in Canton, in Asheville, here was my first job as a lawyer, and then I kept getting pulled more and more over to Canton. And I've been practicing over there, and I've been the mayor over there since 1999. and of course dealing with the floods of 2004 with what we faced over there and some of the things faced here in Asheville and Buncombe County, all West North Carolina.
Absolutely.
So I hope the folks here in Asheville know me
Absolutely.
better than anybody else.
I can remember now.
That's right.
Okay. Mayor down there. Well, you know, this event's been going on for several years. How many years have you been coming to the Vance Aycock Dinner?
You know, Richard, I go back, again, having grown up here, I can remember coming over when I was in college and possibly even in high school, because my family's always been involved in politics here in West North Carolina on the local level, and my family for years came to the Vance Aycock, and then, you know, again, over the years I've been involved in so many campaigns. This is a gathering place, so it's a time that everybody's coming.
So tonight, basically, it's a fundraiser for the Democrat Party.
It's a fundraiser for the Democrat Party, and I was actually chairman of the Vance Aycock Dinner, I think it's 3 years ago.
Is that right?
So Tommy Jenkins, who's the chairman tonight, I know how he's sweating bullets right now, hoping everything's going just right. Everything's going well.
The only difficult question I basically have for you, I do have another question beyond that is, you know, we keep hearing rumors, especially here in Buncombe County, the possibility of changing the name of the Vance Aycock Dinner. How do you feel about that? Is that something that needs to happen, or what do you think?
You know, Richard, that's a hard question and not a hard question. I think there's arguments on both sides of that issue, and I think we just have to let the Democrat Party, the chairman, Jerry Meek, take a decision to that. I think all the people running for office right now in the heat of campaigns really sort of need to stay out of that. It is a party function. You know, you can argue that situation both ways, and we have good leadership in the party with Jerry Meek, and you know, and the executive will make that decision. I mean, I can understand the arguments on both sides. Some people saying that you know, Aycock should not be given such a high status in the state with his separatist and his segregationist views. And at the same time, he did a tremendous amount for education. So
absolutely,
I think it's just something we'll just have to wait and see.
I know the question that most folks up here in West North Carolina believe that we just don't have representation up here. I mean, that's what we hear a lot of. And I think you're a homegrown candidate now that I realize where you're from. You're down in Canton. Forgive me for not knowing that.
That's okay. That's okay. As long as you vote for me, I'll forgive you. Okay.
You hear that, don't you? But anyway, we would love to have a candidate and someone in office that is from the Western North Carolina. We need representation up here, and especially if you're from the area. Well, you know our needs and our desires up here.
Well, Richard, I certainly hope that people in West North Carolina will get fully behind me. You know, we haven't had a Democratic lieutenant governor or governor since Dan Moore was governor, who was from Canton in 1964.
Wow.
So we have not had a lieutenant governor or governor since that time.
That's 43 years ago.
43 years ago. And
what's time, isn't it?
I think we're way due.
Well, Mr. Myers, again, I want to say Richard, congratulations for running. I look forward to hearing more from you, okay?
Good.
This is Richard Bernier with Public Access TV here in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm here with Luke Hyde, which is 11th District Chairman. You've been to a few Vance Aycock dinners, I'm sure.
Yes,
so
sir.
What is the purpose of the Vance Aycock dinner tonight?
The purpose is at least twofold. One is to raise funds for the state Democratic Party, and secondly, for Democrats to get together and talk about how to win elections. These dinners have been going since 1961. I've made all but I think 3, and the dinner has a long tradition. It brings people together, white people, black people, Indian people, Hispanics, Chicanos, people from all walks of life, to talk about campaign strategy and how to win elections and how to do better for ordinary working people.
When you have this event, how many folks normally shows up?
Well, tonight we'll have probably in the neighborhood of 400 or 500, and that's the usual numbers. There were a few times back in the late 60s, early 70s that it ran more than that, but there are more dinners now statewide. There's something called the Sanford Hunt Dinner, and of course there's the Jefferson Jackson Dinner. So the reason for that was to spread it out over the state so more people in the local area could come.
Basically now, a lot of these candidates are running for statewide offices here tonight. And I notice we have a couple of folks here from Western North Carolina running for office, which we're very proud of, by the way.
Yes.
But there is one question I want to throw out there that we're hearing is there a chance that the name of this dinner may be changed due to some issues coming up?
Well, I think this. I believe that it has been suggested by some of the candidates, and I and the state chairman, Jerry Meek, and others will discuss that in January. It will be a thoughtful intelligent, prudent, cautious discussion. The state Democratic Party, and no Democrat I know, wants to support either racist or supremacist ideas,
yes,
and we are going to look at it. Most people here know that the Democratic Party is a party supporting civil rights. We're opposed to discrimination in any form, and that will be discussed, but it will be done in a cautious, prudent, thoughtful way, involving people from all segments of the state.
Very well said. Well, you know, again, we're very happy that it's here each year. I'm familiar with it from years past. Actually, I worked here at Grove Park when I was in high school, so
Yes.
I remember the Vance Aycock Dinner. And to change the name, well, it will just be it will be different. But you know, that will be a decision later on. But at least you're bringing the candidates here in the mountains, so the people up here can hear from them, hear their
Yes.
views, and hear the strategy, and go from there. And I wish you and the party very good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you. Thank you.
Buddy's mess, isn't it? I'll tell you. This is Richard Bernier at the Vance Aycock. I'm here with Sheriff Van Duncan. Sheriff, I want to shake your hand and say thank you for coming over and talking to me.
sir.
You know, this is a big event for Democrat Party tonight, Vance Aycock Dinner. But the big question I have for you tonight, and a lot of folks has been asking that I'm hearing in Buncombe County, is a 287 program. Can you kind of give the folks out there a highlight of what that basically consists of?
Sure, Richard. 287G is a program to where we partner with Immigration Customs Enforcement, and we send some of our detention officers to be certified through ICE to where they can get into the INS system, be able to process folks that we're not able to identify otherwise, and then possibly, depending upon that status, be able to work through immigration to then deport if they're here and have been deported.
Well, let me ask you this. How long is the training for the officers to go through this? Do you know how many weeks of training?
It's 5 weeks.
5 weeks. And where's that training held at, Sheriff?
Right now, I think they're doing it in Charlotte at the Office of Homeland Security.
And the funds, the cost of this program, who's absorbing that cost?
Well, right now, the cost of that program is being absorbed by the sheriff's offices that send their people to be certified, but the North Carolina Sheriff's Association has secured some money to help and assist with that training. But we have written our letter, we've sent our letter in to immigration. They understand that we're very interested in becoming part of the program, and I think it's going to let us identify and track a particular criminal element that we've not been very successful in the past with identifying and tracking.
Well, I want to congratulate you on the work and effort that I'm hearing in the community on the drug market here in Buncombe County, the meth labs that you're breaking down and getting rid of, because the folks out in Buncombe County, they want to get rid of that. And I know you personally, and I know that if it can be done, Van, I think you're the man to do it, and you will have the team of men to do it as well.
Well, I appreciate it, Richard. We've got a lot of good things done, but we've still got a lot of work left to do.
All right. Well, Van, I look forward to talking to you more in the near future, okay?
Okay.
All right, good to see you. Good night.
Thank you.
For the 47th Senate District. It's Rich Bernier up here at the Vance Aycock here with Joe Sam Queen here tonight. Mr. Queen, let me ask you, you've been in politics a long time. When was the first year you got elected?
Well, the first year was '02, but I entered politics when I was 10 years old in 1960.
Wow.
When my father was a campaign manager for Terry Sanford. And my job was to keep the I Beverly Lake posters out of the town of Waynesville. I have a long history in Democratic politics and proud to be there.
I got you. Well, there's one thing about it. You are from Western North Carolina, and that's the reason this is going to be aired on URTV, which is Public Access TV, which we're very fortunate to have in Buncombe County, and hopefully we'll get it over in Haywood County one of these days and so forth.
Well, this is the largest political gathering in North Carolina. Western North Carolina hosts our state, and we have the finest gathering of Democrats statewide every year here, and tonight's no exception.
So tonight we're spotlighting, highlighting the candidates that's running for either the district elections and as far as statewide, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Well, we've got their primary candidates coming up. A lot of Democrats vying for their counties, their parties' post, and we're looking forward to hearing from them and having a good rally here tonight.
Well, we're very fortunate to have the Vance Aycock Dinner here in Buncombe County because it does bring the candidates up here and where we can at least hear their platform and get it out.
That's right.
There's some rumors that the name may be changed. What's your feelings on that, Mr. Queen?
Well, you know, these are great Democrat governors of North Carolina, and through history, you know, Democrats have stood for other things, but the Democrat Party is a progressive party of the people, and I'll stand behind Vance and Aycock in the history of North Carolina. I'm proud of them.
But anyway, I'm glad you're up here tonight, and it's a good way to showcase all the Democrats here in Buncombe County.
It is. They're great citizens.
Thank you, sir. This is Richard Bernier here at the Vance Aycock Dinner. I'm here with Bob Derry, who is a campaign consultant who recently just moved here from Florida. Bob, what brought you up here to North Carolina?
Who could be in a more beautiful part of the country than this?
Oh, I tell you. And it's a little bit cooler up here.
Yes, it is a little cooler. Yes, it is a little cooler. You can actually sleep at night with the door open or the window open.
Well, Bob, you come up here, you're going to help the...
Besides that, I just married a very beautiful woman.
Oh, well, what part of Western North Carolina are you going to be living in?
Asheville.
Asheville. Well, Asheville's got a big history, a lot of good things going on here in Asheville. But let me ask you, you're a consultant, and you're a consultant for the Democrat Party. Right. Did you do that when you was down in Florida?
Yes, but I wasn't my own firm down there. I was working with a firm called Parsons Wilson, and I still have an affiliation with them. And I got to know them when I was a candidate, and they did work for me at that time.
So you're going to basically help the image of the Democrats here in North Carolina?
Well, there's more to it than just image.
Okay.
Image is important.
And substance, I'm sure.
Substance is what is really important. You know, a good consultant never tells a candidate what this message should be.
Oh, yes.
Never.
Never.
And a poll should never tell a candidate what his message should be, but it will sometimes tell him when to shut his mouth.
Well, I can understand that, Bob. You know, there's one controversy that's going on here, and I know you just recently moved here, but are you aware that there's maybe a change where they changed the name of this Vance Aycock Dinner due to some KKK involvement and some racists from the years past? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I've become aware of that.
Yeah. Well, what's your feelings on that? Do you have any insight to that?
Not really, but let me tell you, this is a personal feeling.
Yes, sir.
My personal feeling is that the Democratic Party probably should not continue to affiliate itself with names that are an insult to any segment of our society. I don't care what their party affiliation is. I don't care what their personal beliefs are. We don't need to insult anyone, including our Republican friends.
Absolutely. Well, you sound like you're a fair and balanced gentleman, which I'm very glad to hear from. And, you know, I'm glad that they have this event up here in Buncombe County because it does showcase the candidates throughout North Carolina. Because one thing about up here, Bob, that you may not know, a lot of the citizens up here in Buncombe County and beyond Buncombe County, back in Murphy, Andrews, and Haywood County, we feel like we don't have good representation when it gets down to Raleigh. And
is that right?
That is something that a lot of the mountain folks believe now, you know. But, you know, we do have some candidates this year that are Democrats that are running for statewide office from Buncombe County, which is very exciting to myself. At least we'll have somebody, if elected, they will be here to represent
Well,
us.
I'll see if I can't get them helped and get elected. How's that?
Well, Bob, thank you so much. Welcome to Asheville, North Carolina.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to hearing from you. And
I look forward for you hearing from me, too.
All righty.
Welcome, Democrats. Welcome, Democrats. Welcome, Democrats. Welcome to the 2007 edition of the Vance Aycock Dinner. I request you to listen up because I want to share some words with you from Asheville's favorite son, Thomas Wolfe.
Yeah.
Welcome, fellow Democrats. When you are ready to listen, we're ready to start. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Democrats, Asheville's favorite son, Thomas Wolfe, wrote in 1929, "The soft stone smile of an angel is touched by that dark miracle chance which makes new magic in a dusty world. We are here to make new magic tonight." The Native Americans who lived here 10,000 years ago believed these mountains to be sacred. They believed the mountains held magic, that the waters had curative powers, that the air had redemptive value, and that nature and nature's animals could speak to people if the people could be still and listen. Many mountain men, even today, believe they can find counsel and inspiration and hope around the campfire at night as they listen to the dogs run and bark at the foxes, especially if they can clear their dusty throats with a few snorts of Mountain Dew passed around in a fruit jar. Some mountain people find courage to face a dusty world by talking to the mountains, to the trees, to the rivers, to the streams, the rocks, the birds in the air, and the fishes in the stream. And then quietly, reverently listening for counsel as nature answers. Democrats from all over North Carolina come to the mountains at least once a year to seek the magic of the mountain. October 6, 2007 will be remembered in history as the year we came to stand beside a mountain lake and seek counsel from a mud cabin. The chairman of the 2007 Vance Aycock Dinner is former Senator Tommy Jenkins from Macon County. We are pleased to present Mr. Tommy Jenkins and his wife, Robin.
Are you proud to be a Democrat in Western North Carolina? Before we get started, I'd like to introduce some people at the head table. First of all, my lovely wife, Robin Jenkins, just retired from 30 years of teaching schedule. Our elected district chairman's wife, Layla Hyde. Reverend Roderick Whiteside and his wife, Raquel. And if you haven't turned off your cell phones by now, turn them off. The second rule is, if you know the score of the Virginia Tech Clemson game, do not say. Pat Saunders is very sensitive about that. He recorded the game and doesn't want it up till it's over. And now, introducing our head table for the 47th annual Vance Aycock Dinner. June Atkinson, Superintendent of Public Education. and Lieutenant Governor Bev Perdue. Chairman of the North Carolina Democrat Party, Sheridan Meek. John McGarry and Danny McGarry, first chair of North Carolina Democratic Party. I told you the second seven. It's been a long time since we get come to say this. Nicole Schiller and Representative H. Schiller. Keynote speaker this evening, Mudcat Saunders. Now tell me it's not great to be a Democrat tonight.
Oh, hey, oh, it's Calvin, oh, it's Alice, oh. I said, tell us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's rock it right side with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous light o'er the ramparts
Good evening. This is Richard Bernier. I'm here at the Vance Aycock Dinner here at Grove Park Inn in Asheville, North Carolina. I'm here with Jerry Meek, which is the chairman of the Democrat Party. Welcome to Western North Carolina, Mr. Meek. You know, this is a big event. Kind of tell the folks out here that's listening tonight, what is the Vance Aycock Dinner?
This is really just an opportunity for Democrats to get together, celebrate what we stand for, who we are, celebrate the victories of 2006, which particularly in Western North Carolina were pretty extraordinary, and to start getting geared up for next year's elections.
Well, one thing that's happened as far as victories, you've got a congressman now here for the first time in Western North Carolina.
We are delighted, and I think he's shown himself to be doing an amazing job, and I feel pretty good that he's going to be re-elected next year, but we're going to make sure that happens.
Now, this event's been going on for roughly about 25 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, this is the 47th annual.
47th. Wow, I'm a little bit off on that. So. Well, 47 into it. Well, this is a way to highlight your candidates, like you said earlier. So, in North Carolina right now, one of the good things about this event is that we have some folks that's running from Western North Carolina that can represent the western part as well as the entire state. So we're excited. We've got Mr. Smathers out from Canton that's running. So we're very proud. And we got David Young that's running. And we're just very happy that we've got some candidates on this end of the state running.
Well, you may know that in the last 2 years, the state party has really made Western North Carolina a major focus for us. In the last election, we picked up 23 new county commissioners, picked up 5 new state house members, 2 new state senators, but the bulk of those were elected from Western North Carolina, even from some heavily Republican counties. So, you know, we were really pleased about how we did last year in Western North Carolina.
I got you. Well, let me ask you this. You know, one of the comments, you know, we're up here in Western Carolina, and we're hearing that there's maybe a possibility that this event, the name of this event, Vance Aycock, may be changed. Is that something that the Democrat Party is thinking about doing?
You know, we're willing to entertain the idea, and we'll put it up to a discussion at our next state executive committee meeting. But this event is not about Governor Aycock. It is about who we are as Democrats. It's about what we stand for. It just happens to have the names Vance and Aycock. But last time I remember, neither one of them actually showed up at this dinner. So it's really not about them.
Some issues there, but you know, the good thing about it is you guys are having this event, and you're introducing the candidates to the western part of North Carolina, and folks that's down in the eastern part that at least can come up here and share their thoughts and their ideals and their concept for election in November.
It really is a good time, and as you can tell from the mood, it's very festive, and people will, I'm sure, be enjoying the evening, and we'll be talking about it for a while, I hope.
Mr. Meek, thank you for talking to us.
Please
support Public Access TV. It's a very good formation.
Happy to do that.
And, you know, we want to keep it going.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is Richard Bernier with Public Access TV here at Vance Aycock. I'm here with Mr. Flack, which is a spokesperson for Congressman, well, he's not a senator yet, is he? It's Congressman, he's Schuler.
Well, actually, I'm not a spokesperson, but I do work for him. I'm
work for him?
Regional field representative.
Regional
yes.
field representative. I do apologize.
We
for
have
that.
a communications director here who likes to be the spokesperson.
Oh, okay. He's a spokesperson.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, tonight was the first time that the Vance Aycock Dinner was able to announce that we have a congressman, Democrat congressman from Western North Carolina in a long time. I'm sure he feels pretty good about being our congressman. What progress has he been able to make since he's been up in Washington, D.C.?
Well, he's extremely excited about being a congressman. He believes in working for the best of the people of Western North Carolina. He's worked hard on, he just voted for the CHIPS program for our schools. He's in our home county, Swain County, where he and I both grew up. He's worked out a deal to the Road to Nowhere that's been going on for over 60 years.
So where's that stand right now for the folks that might be listening tonight if they haven't been reading it in the newspaper? Does it look like the road's not going to be built and we're going to basically get the county's going to receive some substantial amount of funding?
Well, the Park Service this week released their findings, and they recommend that the road not be built.
Would that, the reasons why they recommend it not being built, is it because of environmentalists? Or
environmental impact, the cost of it. There are a lot of reasons, but environmental impact is a huge part of that.
And I'm sure Heath has spoke to the families of the people that has the graves up there.
Well,
and go
having grown up out there, he's been involved in this all his life. He's very, very familiar with the situation out there. Now, there's some people who are disappointed and unhappy, but Heath is in Congress to help all the people of Western North Carolina and the people of Swain County, one of the poorest counties. 80% of the land in Swain County is out of the tax base, federal land, and the people of Swain County need help, and this will be a tremendous help for them.
Well, you know, Swain County is very fortunate to have congressmen from that county, and hopefully he can be a big impact and use that funds. Does he have any idea where those funds are going to be used?
Well, the funds will be probably. The final papers haven't been drawn up yet, I'm sure, but the county will have to say so of how the people of Swain County who elect their representatives to the county commissioners, they are the ones who will be able to say how that. The congressman, I don't believe, is going to want to try to dictate where the money's spent. It's for the people of Swain County.
Well, you know, that's probably a very good thing, because, you know, the local level knows where the money needs to go, you know, for that. But anyway, I thank you for coming up to me and talking to me.
Thank you very much for being here.
And please tell Congressman Schuler that to support Public Access TV, because
will.
the good benefit about Public Access TV is the fact that we can film something like this and we can air it several times, and it's just not being one time, so we can get the message out.
I enjoy watching Public Access TV.
Well,
Channel 20, I watch it quite often at home, and a lot of the stuff on there I find entertaining, if not informing. but there's an awful lot of great programming on there, too.
Well, I appreciate those good comments. Thank you very much tonight.
protect the seats that we won in 2006 and expand them. But speaking of who we are, I'd like to take an opportunity to respond to some of the Republican garbage you may be hearing lately about tonight's dinner. Have you all heard this? In recent weeks, a small group of Republicans here in Buncombe County have called us racist for continuing to name this dinner in part after Governor Vance Aycock. Let me be clear. Governor Aycock was a person who participated in the murderous racial uprising in Wilmington in 1898 and led the state's segregationist movement. But this label that the Republicans, this small group of Republicans have attempted to use, does not apply to the North Carolina Democratic Party today. In today's Democratic Party, our lawmakers and Governor Mike Beasley answered the call to recognize and apologize for the state's role in institutionalized slavery and the horrific 1898 Wilmington race riots. In today's Democratic Party, we answered the call for better schools for North Carolina's children by devoting more than half of the state's budget to education. This year we provided $5.7 million to hire literacy coaches, $17.6 million for disadvantaged students, and $3 million for a pilot program that gives a computer to each student and teacher in 8 high schools throughout the state. In today's Democratic Party, we improved the quality of health care for all North Carolinians by providing money to stem the tide of pediatric diabetes, offer health insurance to more poor and low-income children, and fund HIV prevention and awareness programs in local health departments and historically black colleges and universities. Today, Democrats act while Republicans use race-based to disguise the complete absence of any substantive ideas. Today, Republican presidential candidates run from debates moderated by respected African-American journalists and held in historically black universities. Today, Republicans vote against their policy for the 1898 Wilmington race riots while accusing us of being racist. Today, we are an inclusive party, a diverse party, and a party committed to equal justice and opportunity for all people. Every day, Democrats are called and answer questions how to care for the poor and elderly, preserve our natural beauty while responsibly managing growth, educate our children, keep our communities safe, and support our troops while finding a way to end the war. I don't know about you, but I am proud of who we are and what we stand for. And I am too proud of who we are and what we stand for to let the other party define us or label us. presents the Chair's Award in recognition of extraordinary contributions to the Democratic Party. Tonight's recipient has long been sought out by Democratic candidates statewide for his keen insight into Western North Carolina, for his candor, and for his ability to make things happen. For about 30 years, he served as the Register of Deeds for Buncombe County. Over the course of his lifetime, he served the party in countless capacities. This year he served as president of the Buncombe County Democratic Men's Club, expanding the group to a record 270 members. And so I guess you could say he's got a few connections. It is my pleasure to present the 2007 Cheers Award to Otto Rule.
Vance Aycock Committee and the state party, we invited both candidates to speak this evening for 5 minutes. Secretary, the Treasurer, Richard Moore, could not be with us this evening. He was at the breakfast this morning and offered remarks. And Lieutenant Governor Beverly Perdue has been kind enough to accept our invitation to speak for 5 minutes. Lieutenant Perdue's goal is to make North Carolina the best educated and healthiest state in America. She's a former school teacher and health care professional that grew up in the coal mining mountains of southwest Virginia and has lived most of her adult life in New Bern, North Carolina. Her parents never finished high school, but always preached education and hard work is a path to success. And those are the values that drive Bev today. Her small town values and big time ideas were the foundation of her campaign when she became the first woman ever elected to the State House from her part of the state. After demonstrating distinguished leadership in the House and the Senate, Bev became the first woman ever elected Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. Bev has been a leader in raising teacher salaries, increasing technology in schools, and is working so that more of our students can afford to go to college, vocational school, or community college to develop the skills needed to work in the 21st century. As Senate Appropriations Chair, Bev led passage of the landmark CHIPS program to start coverage of uninsured children, and as chair of the Health and Wellness Trust Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, Beverly.
the Schulers. But we've got another congressman over here from Fayetteville who's waiting for us to help him make it happen. Larry Vance Aycock, and I said, yes, we are. And I bet tonight somebody looked at you and said, why are you coming to gather together as Democrats at this annual banquet? Why are you giving up your time to do this? And I would bet that you understand, just like I understand, that you know why. You come to gather with us because as good Democrats, we understand clearly that we can make a difference for all of the people of North Carolina. And that's what drives us. It is the Democratic Party that makes a real difference in this state and this country. And it is our Democratic Party, just like our able chairman Jerry Meeks just said, that exhibits true Democratic values, true North Carolina values. And that's exactly why I want to be your next governor. Because I believe that North Carolina in our lifetime can have the best educated workforce in America, right here in our state. And I believe our people can be the healthiest people in America if we as Democrats wrap our arms around those two initiatives and embrace them and make them happen. We can talk about things like changing the name of the Vance Aycock Dinner, but that doesn't make a real difference. We all understand that. What we have to do as Democrats is to make sure that all of the people in this state, regardless of who they are or where they come from, have a shot, a fair shot at being somebody in North Carolina. And I want to lead the effort to make that possible, to ensure that all North Carolina families have access to good quality education and health care, and how about home ownership, and how about jobs from Murphy to Maniou. We really can do that in North Carolina because of you and because of the people of this great state. The people of North Carolina are our very best resource, and we need to capitalize on their initiative and their love for doing the right things. Of course, if you're going to have the best educated workforce in the world in North Carolina, you've got to start with good quality teachers. You've got to pay them. I'm not saying that because I was recently endorsed by North Carolina's teachers and educators, and I'm very pleased with that. I'm saying that because in North Carolina, the only way we have really good teachers is to pay them a professional salary worthy of the work they do for our children, who are our future workforce. You know, we've made great strides in North Carolina thanks to Jim Hunt. We have Smart Start, which is still the most acclaimed preschool, health care, and social services program in the country. What we need to do, as well as our preschool initiatives, I believe, is to do a better job of helping our kids in North Carolina finish what they start. I have a plan that you'll hear lots about that well before high school, perhaps as early as 5th grade, our state should make an ironclad promise to our students. If they work hard in their communities, if they make good grades and stay in school, and if they stay out of trouble, and if they graduate high school, we lose a third of our kids now who never graduate high school, then you know what we, North Carolina, will do for them. We will commit to them that tuition money for any kind of program to get 21st century job skills or to attend a community college or university will not limit them from finishing that education. That's the right thing to do. We have never had a governor who served this state well who didn't lead on education. It is the legacy of this state and a legacy Democrats have built. We can also make North Carolina the healthiest state in America. We can make sure that every child in this state has health insurance. You believe that. Those are good Democratic values, and those are North Carolina values. And we must start, Heath Schuler, with overriding George Bush's veto And as a people, I would ask you to join me in believing that we can help parents of poor children get the health coverage that they too need. And we can help figure out how to make health insurance affordable for the middle class, for the working families of North Carolina. And we can lower health care costs for all of us in this room if we just place a bigger emphasis as a people on wellness and healthy living. We can do that together if we commit ourselves to the task. So from affordable and accessible health care, to a first-rate education for our kids, from creating job opportunities and financial security, to leaving the next generation an environment that's greener and cleaner than the environment we have today. Those are the things together as Democrats we have to focus on. You know, we have come so far as a party and as a people. But I continue to say we're halfway home and a long way to go. We've got to continue moving North Carolina forward. You know, I didn't grow up in a politically connected family. I did grow up, though, believing that with a good education and hard work, anything is possible for any of us. And I'm standing here right now tonight before you as your Lieutenant Governor because I have lived my life believing that. I am a product of a public school system, and I'm a product of hard work and a product of knowing that in this state, possibilities are limited only by one's imagination. When I was a kid, I was given this plaque, and I have it in your office. The Lieutenant Governor is really your office. It belongs to you. I see it every day. It says, I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. I know I can. When it comes to making a real difference for North Carolina's families, I don't just think we can. I know that we can, together as Democrats in North Carolina. Thank you.
Governor Hunt, Lieutenant Governor Perdue, Council of State, fellow Democrats. I couldn't help but be reminded of the time back in the 1960s when a young man from Wilson and I used to get in my old battered car and drive around the counties of western North Carolina. And Jim, the fellow that I'm going to present in a minute, displayed some of the skills that you have and had in 1968. And we are pleased, Governor, you're here tonight. My task is to present our Congressman Heath Schuler. You know that he's a native of Swain County. You know that he played a pretty fair game of football in high school, took his team to the state championship. You know that he played a pretty good game at Tennessee. He was also an academic All-American. When he was elected to Congress last year because of help from many of you in this room, he soon distinguished worship. That's hard for Swain County Board to pronounce. All of you know that people in my family make comparisons with stories in the past and with great books. About 158 years ago, a man who grew up in the mountains of New England wrote a book that he called The Big Fish, or The Great Fish, or Moby Dick. And he wrote these words, "And there is a mountain eagle in some souls that can dive down into the blackest gorges and soar out again and become invisible in the sunny spaces. And even if he forever flies within the gorge, that gorge is in the mountains, so that even in the mountain eagle is still higher than other birds upon the plain, even though they soar." We know that the leadership, some of the leadership in Washington is in a swoop, the kind of which we have never seen in our lives. As a student of history, I can say to you tonight, this administration, the last two of George Bush, will go down in history as the worst administration in the history of the world. But there is some hope. Because you worked hard and because we had a good candidate for Congress last time, we're going to see Democrats soaring out and become invisible in the sunny spaces as we win elections. I am pleased to present Swain County's favorite son, Congressman Keith Schuler. I get to observe the first female Speaker of the House from that realm. I told a lot of you were here at the breakfast this morning, and my wife and I are very blessed to have two wonderful children. And my little girl, Isla, and my little boy, during the opening ceremonies of the house, after all of you were so gracious to dedicate your time and work hard and put me in office, I had the opportunity to sit with my daughter in my lap as the Speaker took the gavel for the very first time. As she was going through the swearing-in ceremony,
leaned up and I whispered in Alan's ear. I said, "You can do anything you want to do." That's great, Americans. People who have led this country, who have dedicated themselves to give us Social Security, the GI Bill, Medicare, Medicaid, the school lunch program, won 2 world wars and got us out of the Great Depression. Those people were Democrats. We see the stripes and we see the stars behind me. And I watched and observed today on a rail as my little son participated in his first judo tournament. I've never been more nervous. I know Coach Dietz is here. Coach, I was never nervous ever in a football game in comparison to what happened this morning. I saw my wife, as she said she's going to video, started in the bleachers and she was almost on the mat with my son on the video camera. But I got to see an American hero today. Someone that probably will never be in Congress. The history books probably will never write about this man. But I watched a man from Swain County take some children and work with them. In Swain County, they have 150 students who paid nothing to participate in judo because of the dedication of the community and the dedication of Jeremiah Johnson. I watched those students observe every move the sensei said, every move he made. When they would come off the mat, he would congratulate, and when things didn't go very well, he put his arm around them and told them, "Wait till next time. Wait till next time." A true American hero that has dedicated himself to these children. Well, folks, we've raised the minimum wage in Washington. For the first time in a decade, we've allowed the federal government now to negotiate prescription drug prices for our seniors. We have cut the subsidies of the oil companies and given to the investment of alternative energy in America. We reauthorized the COPS program, and Sheriff, if we can get the President to sign on to this, all you sheriffs here will have an opportunity to put more of our cops on the street. We passed the largest increase in our veterans' health care in the history of our country. And yes, Democrats, we had a tax cut for the small businesses to be able to provide alternative energy sources and give them the tax break that they need, that we can become a greener, environment-friendly, safe business. We have an opportunity to pass a lot more legislation, and some legislation that we know that has a veto card facing us. Come this November, each and every one of us need to work as hard as we possibly can to ensure that Jeremiah can give his children he is teaching an opportunity, a direction, and a vision that our children will know that will be led by the Democrats throughout this country. One vote at a time, one phone call at a time, one ride to the polls to get the vote out. That our children will have the opportunity to fulfill the dreams and not have this burden of debt hanging over their heads. That this administration has placed upon our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. It was okay to give to the big oil companies, to the big pharmaceutical companies. It was okay because you know what? We were going to borrow that money from China and India and Japan. We have to turn the table, folks. We have to dedicate ourselves during this next election to ensure that every child will have that opportunity and that every Democrat and we can lead America back to where we once were. And that's the Democratic way. Well, thank you for giving me that opportunity to go to Washington and to be able to lean upon that rail and observe history in the making. It was your hard work. I know there's some rainy days and some moments and sleepless nights that we all had. I want to thank my wife for being my hero and my kids' hero. And the staff that we have here in Western North Carolina that dedicates themselves to every citizen that calls. Sometimes we'll hear about the neighbors barking, dog barking. But sometimes there's that issue that we can help provide assistance for people that otherwise would not have a voice. And my staff here in Western North Carolina and in Washington, I thank you so much because you guys have dedicated your life as well. It gives me a great privilege to introduce our guest speaker tonight. There was one day in Washington that I saw this man wandering around the halls of Congress. He was as lost as I was. I'd only been there a few weeks. I couldn't find my way around the hall, and I ran into Mudcat Saunders. And I said, well, I know one of these elevators takes us to the 5th floor of the Cannon Building. We just have to find out which elevator it is. So the two of us went up, we sat in my office, and we talked about strategy, about this past campaign, about rural America, about how Democrats is truly rural America. It's about our children. It's about health care. It's about community involvement. Far too often, 50 years ago, when someone's house burnt, or when the barn burnt, what happened? All of our neighbors, we gathered every bit of lumber that we had and the tools, and we worked hard to rebuild that family's home. That's rural America today, folks. It's just unfortunate not everybody sees a rural America. Democrats are taking back rural America. And we're being led by some great people. Mudcat Saunders has been known as, well, Mudcat. A rural strategist that has helped out on many campaigns, serves in the capacity of the rural liaison for Senator Bob Graham, and now the senior advisor for North Carolina's very own John Edwards. It's been said about Mudcat that he takes a wire brush. Now, only rural America would know what a wire brush is, huh? Takes a wire brush to still in the traditional Democrats in the South for rural areas under false pretenses. He says that Democrats care about our nation's children, the poor, the sick, and the elderly. That's what we're all about, folks. That's what we're all about. He shaped Mark Warner's historic rural strategy. He's senior advisor to Jim Webb. And if you read Rolling Stone magazine about Jim Webb's run for the Senate, he said nothing got Saunders got him to run. America is much better off now that we have a senator like Jim Webb. The author of Foxes in the Hen House. Help me give Mudcat Saunders a warm North Carolina welcome.
Understand I've come right here to a middle of controversy. It's Vance Aycock Dinner. We have several controversy, of course, with our Jefferson Jackson Day dinner in Virginia. One of my best friends in the world, a fellow who was executive director of the Black Caucus from Norfolk. His name's Wesley Jacobs, and we call him Uptown Jay. But when this JJ controversy started in Virginia, Jake and I were going down the hall one time. This Republican comes up to us. You know, George Bush is not the only Republican that is dumb as a horse. And he comes up to us. He says, you know, what are y'all doing? You know, this Jefferson Jackson thing, it's offensive to African Americans. And Wesley says to him, says, what have you got against George Jefferson and Jesse Jackson? This Vance Aycock strategy, first I've got to say, I know there's some members of the media here. It seems like they're everywhere these days, but I understand there was a little bit of controversy because they said that I tended to curse when I got to preach the gospel to Democrats. Well, I've got, you know, these people who said something about that, you know, the newspaper, whatever. All I got to say is, you can go to hell. But the Vance, you know, they got some suggestions for you. I mean, we changed the name of it. People don't like this fella Aycock, although he's been dead 100 years. But, I mean, what's wrong with the Vance Edwards death? What's wrong with the Vance Schiller death? And if we really are serious about getting after this dead fellow named Aycock, we could call it the Hunt Aycock. The first thing I want to say to all y'all here that I can't say, you know, how proud I am of Hayden. You know, as I, you know, go around, I get more people asking me about him, and of course, you know, Jim Webb. And Jim Webb is making history in Washington, and he sure is making history in Washington. And the way they're doing it, I mean, I've been a supporter of Hayes. I even gave him money. Hayden, where's Hayden? Hayden? Did the check bounce? I gave him money. But, you know, as Democrats, I think that this Vance the election in 1968 when Harry Dent and Chuck Colson got together and developed the famous Southern strategy that was built on making God's children hate each other. And this Vance Aycock deal is just an example of people trying to put wedges in between God's children. It's intolerable. And when I heard the Carolina Stompers were going to be here, I thought that this bluegrass band, you guys are really good about it. I thought they were some kind of clogging group or something. But I found out there was something different. So I think we need to follow, I don't like that name, Carolina Stompers. I'm a Scots-Irish hillbilly Southern Baptist. And I don't like that. So I think we need to form us a group called the Carolina Stompers. But, the politics of which, of wedges, they're falling out. And I'm happy to sit here and tell you that, I go around, I talk to a lot of groups. The racial wedges are going away. And while we're not, we're stereotyped. As I get, to talk to people in, New Hampshire, for instance. And, our people are stereotyped. And it's wrong. And I don't put up with it a whole lot. But, the truth of the matter is we're not at the top of the mountain that Dr. King talked about. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. And the reason that we're getting there is because every white person in this room has developed a friendship, a great friendship with a black person. And every black person in this room has developed a great friendship with a white person. That's the way you remove wedges. This idea that God is a Republican. I've always said that, when the Lord comes back, the first thing he'll say is that, a friend of mine told me this, y'all got too caught up in the messenger and forgot the message. And I think that the Republicans, that's them to the tip. And I know today, as I sit here, that God is not a Republican. But at the same time, I'm a Southern with a strong affection for God. God's not a Democrat either. God doesn't get into something as petty as partisan politics. God cares about the individual's heart. And that's what he's about. So I'm going to defend God by saying that. These other ways, you hear about God, guns, and gays. We had an amendment last year to the Constitution in Virginia that would, stop gay marriage. And it was a George Allen maneuver because obviously he was a front runner for President of the United States. He went to the House of Delegates and the Senate, and he got it on there. And the ideal was to turn out the evangelical turnout, get a big win, be Bush's chosen son, he would immediately become a front runner for president. Of course, an old Vance Aycock Dinner named Jim Webb stopped that. But a group, what's the correct way to say it? Gays, homosexuals, lesbians, they came to me, the Commonwealth Coalition, and they asked me if I would be their spokesperson to the hillbilly nation. And I told him, I said, I will do it. I said, under one circumstance. And I said, if I go out and I start talking about gays, homosexuals, lesbians, all this, I won't have, I'll look disingenuous. Because as we all know, there is a small wedge there to say, but anyway. So I said, y'all let me use the word quick, and I'll do it. And they said immediately, do it. The first program I went on, this guy started talking about God. And I told him, I said, the one thing you don't understand is God loves him queers every bit as much as he loves him Republicans. the Democratic Party. But Webb is a regal guy. Not in the sense of King Richard the Lionhearted, but in the sense of a brave heart. He truly is. To explain to you what kind of guy Webb is, and of course Jim was one of the most decorated, if not the most decorated 400,000 Marines in Vietnam, 2 silvers and 2 Purple Hearts, 2 Bronze Stars, a Silver Star, and a Navy Cross. But, you know, he's like Heath. And, you know, the day of lines, the days, you know, we don't need to spend anything as Democrats. You know, we got the message. But Jim, we were out in that bluegrass band like these fellas over here, and I told them, I said, look, next time we're through here, learn how to play the Marine Corps hymn. And they said, oh, that's easy to turn. They were going to get it down. But Jim pulls me over, we're riding down the road, and he turns to me and he says, my cat, pull over right there. And when Jim tells you to pull over right there, if he tells you to sell this pole out here in front of this building, until next Tuesday, you do it. So I pulled over. And he told me, he said, in no way, shape, or form will that hymn ever be played in connection with my campaign. He said, the cord must never be drawn into political controversy. These people who use that type of thing, and the Republicans seem to think that they got, a lock on patriotism. I look around here tonight and I see a lot of patriots, real patriots. But I got in politics, and I just want to say this real quick, and I'm going to step down. There's been a lot of people talking here tonight, and I want the way I got here, people ask me all the time, how'd you get on the national stage in politics? And the truth of the matter is, in December of 2000, I went out for a sausage and egg biscuit, and here I am. Mark Warner asked me to get involved in his campaign, which I did. Here we have, a Connecticut telecommunications Yankee billionaire, and going into rural Virginia and talking, to people, he swore they were Democrats. Well, we got 51.4% of the rural vote. Mark became the first Democrat to win a statewide election, a majority of it, in a generation. And the way they did it was very simple. The fact that the Democrats in Washington won't come down here and do battle with presidential elections to me is offensive. John Kerry, I don't understand that. One of the main premises of my book is that Democrats can't count. And John Kerry conceded 227 electoral votes before October the 1st. First off, why did he concede anything? Why do you say I'm pulling out here? But George Bush only had 43 electoral votes to get, or 16% of the remaining electoral votes to hit the 270 threshold. There are those, this guy wrote whistling past Dixie, saying that the Democrats, the National Democrats, shouldn't even come to the South anymore. They ought to concentrate on the Rockies and the Northeast and a coast strategy. First off, it's mathematically challenged. Today, about 32% of the electoral votes come from the South. By 2020, if everything holds, it's going to be 40%. There's 110 million of us now living in the South. And as I talk to these people who make these ridiculous arguments, not only is it mathematically challenged for the Democratic Party in presidential elections to turn their back on to mathematically challenge, to look away from 110 million voters, it's morally wrong. And I believe that here on our home I'm going to stop now. Let y'all get it. But I just want to tell y'all how much I appreciate y'all having me down here. I've been going back and forth between Iowa and New Hampshire 100 miles an hour. But I returned to Dixie. I sort of feel like Dark. I'm home. God bless y'all. God bless North Carolina. And God bless America.
I've got to thank a few people. First of all, the Vance Aycock Dinner. Y'all would stand up.
It's Richard Bernier. We're wrapping up tonight's event here at Grove Park Inn and Vance Aycock Dinner. I'm here with Attorney General Roy Cooper. Thank you for coming on Public Access TV here in Asheville.
Glad to do it.
Tonight's event, how did you think it went over?
It's great. It's just great to have people who care so much about our state and what's happening in public service. We're glad they're here, and I'm glad to be here in Western North Carolina. I talked about today all of the things we're trying to do from the Attorney General's office for the people of our state. For one, we're suing the Tennessee Valley Authority to make sure they clean up their smokestacks and reduce pollution they send into Western North Carolina. We're bringing lawsuits against the EPA because Washington simply will not do what it needs to do to stop pollution from coming here. We've cut the meth labs by 60% in this state. And
That's
those
fantastic.
Meth labs were ruining communities and families. We're working hard to keep our schools safe. We're working hard to keep kids safe on the internet with child predators who are out there cruising the internet more than the playground. So we're working hard doing good things. And what this is about, people talk about the politics and the voting, but in the end, it's about electing people who make a difference with public policy and who make a real difference in people's lives.
Well, tonight, one of the things that we've seen tonight, me and my camera guy there, we have some candidates from the Western District. As you know, a lot of folks up here feel like we don't have good representation, but now we're going to run some folks on the Western end, and we're very excited at that. And I'm glad that Public Access TV is allowing us to air this because it will showcase those candidates. Now, as you know, Public Access, we cannot endorse any candidates, nor will I disendorse any candidates, but tonight it was just a grand opportunity for Public Access TV here in Asheville to bring it. I do want to ask you one question about illegal immigration, because a lot of folks want to know about that. What part does the state of North Carolina play in a role of the federal 287 program?
Well, obviously the federal government is most concerned with that issue, but what I'm working on as Attorney General, we're working with sheriffs across North Carolina to make sure we identify illegal immigrants who have committed crimes, who are in our jails, to make sure we get them deported. I mean, if you've got people committing crimes, then that's the number one thing that we need to do, and I'm working with our sheriffs to make sure that we're part of that. A number of them already are starting to do that, and I'm going to work as Attorney General to make sure that we make that program effective.
Well, thank you for sharing your
Yes,
comments
sir.
with me.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Take care.
Good evening. It's Rich Bernier, still here at the Vance Aycock. I'm here with Congressman Heath Sheeler. Thank you,
Yes,
Heath Sheeler,
sir.
for
Thank
coming
you.
in and letting speak to a guy for URTV Public Access TV.
Very good.
You know, Public Access TV has allowed us to come here tonight and filmed over 2 hours of event, which will probably be replayed several times. And I personally do not endorse any candidates, but I put the information out there. And so the people of Asheville, Buncombe County, and also Madison County tonight got to see the candidates that are running for statewide, and especially some of the candidates that are local that are running for statewide office. And I'm very proud to be here tonight.
That's
very
wonderful.
proud to talk to you.
Well, very good.
How did the night go for you?
I thought it went very well. You know, it's an opportunity that you get to see a lot of people that sometimes you only get to see them once a year, and this is an opportunity for a lot of people to come in and you get to see old friends.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was glad to be here, like I've said before. You know, the good thing about it is you introduce those folks up here, but the man that I was really impressed with tonight, I'm a conservative, but I sure did like Mudcat when he got up there. Tell me again, what state is he from?
He's from Virginia. He's from the southwest corner of Virginia. He's been very active in Jim Webb's campaign, John Edwards' campaign, Webb's campaign. He's done a very good job in a lot of Warner's campaign. So he's done a very good job, and he, you know, mainly the rural areas. You know, it's very similar to what we have here in some of the sections of the state of Virginia. He's an author of Foxes in the Hen House. So
I'm going to get that book after
he does a very good job. I mean, Mudcat does a very good job, and you know, he's the comedian part of an entertaining type show, and he's got a really good heart, though. I mean, he really does.
Well, you've been in office for a year. If you had to summarize it in about a couple of sentences, what would you tell the people out there you experienced the first year in Congress?
Well, I want to thank him for the opportunity, because you really do get to make a difference in people's lives. Sometimes it's on a very small scale, but then the votes that we cast and we place and they become law, you really get to impact on a very large scale. So not only do you get to help the people in our community, but we really get to help people all over our country.
Absolutely. When your daughter gets in high school, in the history book, she can maybe see something that you voted on. That's what's so neat.
That's
you
right.
know, I sit back and I think about that. You know, there she is in Waynesville getting to read about her father and some of the bills that are passed. I think that's fabulous. The event tonight, as you know, there's been a little bit of turmoil whether or not you need to change the name. And I just wanted to throw it out there to you and see how you felt about it and where your position stood on that.
Well, I mean, that's obviously the state party's issue, and that's something that they're going to have to deal with, and they're going to have to come up with a decision before next year.
Yes. Well, good luck, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Very nice to meet you.
Great to see
and
you.
I want you to support Public Access TV. This
And we
is
do.
what we do. Thank you, sir.
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Vance Aycock Dinner here in Asheville, North Carolina. My name's Richard Bernier, and many of y'all who watch SoundOffBuncombe on URTV knows my political background. I am a conservative, and I believe by being here tonight, give me an insight to the Democratic Party. Now, I was very impressed with Mr. Mudcat. His nickname alone stands highly. I believe, even though I'm a conservative, I believe the Democrat Party may be working for the American people. However, I believe there's a lot of issues that the country needs to look at. Even though I'm a conservative, they made me feel welcome here tonight, and I appreciate it. The communications director, the folks that originally lined this thing up here at Grove Park Inn, along with Congressman Schuler's staff, and several candidates on the Democrat side. My video here tonight was to highlight their comments, not to endorse them in any way, nor not to endorse them in any way. Even though I'm a conservative. I fully believe we as the people of North Carolina, along with the United States, need to look at the up-and-coming election and vote the way you feel deep down inside. I know I will do that. I will definitely not be voting a straight party ticket because there is some good folks on the other side, and a matter of fact, in my opinion, there's not either side. The way the country's looking right now, we don't need to be divided in two sides. Now, if you've watched my show on SoundOffBuncombe, you've heard me be very critical on the Democrat side. But usually the issues that I'm critical on is issues that I fully feel that they're out of line with. But at the same time, they have that right to have their views. And tonight, I want to say thank you to all the folks that allowed me to come here. And this presentation is a SoundOffBuncombe presentation, exclusive. And again, it's good to have the opportunity to film this type of event and to hear the comments. And as you sit there tonight, again, I want to stress to you that this program is not to endorse any candidate, nor is it not to endorse a candidate or make fun of or encourage you to vote a certain way. Due to the rules and regulation of Public Access TV, we're not allowed to do that as member producers. And it would be totally wrong, because this country at this point in time needs to come together. It may be time to have a mixture. I'm not sure. The people will speak. Just don't get caught up in a one-sentence fragmentation that criticize someone without knowing the entire message. Now, there's some turmoil about the name of this event tonight. To be honest with you, I'm not quite sure I understand it. I understand there's whoever, Vance Aycock, they had some racist concepts back then. Well, you know, that's then, this is now. But I will say this, had it been a Republican Party tonight, I wonder if the Democrats would have done the same. Probably, because that's just the nature of the game. And that's what happens with any party. And I say that with all honesty. Which party can have the advantage on any issue? They will use it. Now, is that right? Maybe, maybe not. That's for you to decide when you watch the show or you go vote. But I can honestly say, I'm glad I came here tonight. A lot of things I heard made a lot of sense. A lot of the comments about the current administration, no, I didn't agree with. But that's my opinion. And I'm glad you sat and watched this. This will probably be a 2-hour program. And again, without Public Access TV in Asheville, this would not have been showed. You would have seen a clip on Channel 13. You'd have read a little paragraph in the Asheville Citizen-Times. But tonight, you got to see the concept for the very first time of the Vance Aycock meal. Now, unfortunately, I did not have the opportunity to film the Lincoln party that the Republicans did some months ago. Next year, I'll try my best to do that. As you know, this is a public access TV, and then member supported. But again, I want to stress the folks were very good to me tonight. They spent a lot of money, but then again, the Republicans spent a lot of money on their party. I'm glad I've come. I appreciate my film crew here, Thunder Pig, helping me out here. He done a great job. Lives all the way out in Franklin. I give him a kudos. Unfortunately, you know, this is a small production. It's only one camera, one microphone, and my mouthpiece, you know. But what you hear tonight, on my end, this is what I've seen. I'm conveying it to you. I'll be honest with you, Mudcat, I love your name. I'd love to sit down and talk to you, because I do believe that you are a conservative Democrat. I would just wish you'd talk to those fellow Democrats and try to encourage them to get more in the middle of the road. Now, that's my speech to you, Mudcat. But again, we're here in Asheville, North Carolina tonight at the Grove Park Inn Vance Aycock Meal. Thank you for watching this show. This will be on several times, and if you have any comments, questions, please feel free to email me. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. Thank you. Good night.